So, Lone Rider here, and I wanted to talk briefly about YouTube's new anti-gun policy. I think I already put something up about this before, but I just had a thought that I wanted to share with you that, keep this very short. I think the other one I put up was a little longer. But just very briefly, there are other platforms out there, and there are other places for people to go if they want to share firearms related videos that wouldn't be allowed on YouTube under their new anti-gun policy. But the question that I have as somebody who's interested in some of these videos and does watch them isn't so much what would happen to the firearms related content. It's what would happen to YouTube without the firearms related content. Right? There's always going to be some place for people to share their views and to share videos about how to reload ammunition or fix the magazine catch on a 1911 or whatever. It's not a question of the firearms people won't have a place to share their stuff. It's a question of what would happen to YouTube without those videos on it. And especially the way things are going nowadays with guns and gun control being such a hot button issue, what would happen is that you would have every view represented on YouTube except for the gun enthusiasts. And my problem with that, of course, is that, again, it's not the question of that the gun enthusiasts wouldn't have a place to share their views. There's always going to be, there's Full 30, there's Patreon, there's other things you can do with that. It's that what would happen for the rest of YouTube? Well, you'd have YouTube, but it wouldn't represent all the views. You'd have, if people did a search on anything related to guns or whatever, everything would come up except for the pro-gun side. And that's an aspect that I don't think people are talking about. I think people are looking at it like, well, I want to watch this video, or I want to produce this video, or I don't want to get unfair strikes against me retroactively for a video I made years ago. That's all fine and good. And those are things we should talk about. But my problem is YouTube is one of the biggest platforms in the world, for maybe the biggest, for videos about various subjects. And by driving a lot of the gun videos away, what they're going to create is an absence of that view. So if somebody were to do a search on gun-related stuff, everything would come up except the views of the gun people, more or less. And the problem I have with that is, who has the most to contribute to a debate about guns? Who knows the most about the subject? Who's going to be the most affected by, let's say, a gun control law? Firearms owners? Hello. Who should be included in the debate, not only for all the knowledge and expertise they have to bring to the table, but out of a basic sense of fairness, if nothing else, because they're the ones most likely to be affected by any changes to the laws of the land. And, if you're looking at it, well, YouTube as sort of a microcosm of all the views that are out there, if one of these views is then largely absent, that's going to give a very skewed perception to what the public debate is like, to what the views in the general public are. There's not going to be a similar policy to restrict anti-gun views. If they did that, at least you could say, well, okay, on that subject, YouTube's going to be neutral. No, they're going to allow everything except a lot of the gun videos, which are going to be restricted to some degree or another. And that's going to have, or could have, we don't know yet because it hasn't, happened yet, but that could have the effect of skewing what's out there and what's available and what people see. People go on YouTube and do a search about gun control, and not a single video pops up criticizing gun control. Wow, that's going to be a big difference than the way it is now. Now, maybe that's what YouTube's going for. And you know what, as a private company, if they want to do that, again, I'm not sure what can be done to stop it. I'm not sure anything should be done to stop it. But I certainly don't think it's a good idea, and I certainly don't think it's a good policy. And, my problem is that this is one of the few areas where, they're not putting firearms aficionados on CNN. They're not putting firearms aficionados on MSNBC. they have a place on YouTube where they can at least get their side out. That goes away, and you're going to have a very skewed representation on YouTube of what the overall opinion on this is, and the overall variety of opinions, and the overall facts as well. You're not going to hear from the gun control people that 10 rounds isn't just not high capacity, it's actually substandard. They're not going to tell you that. They're talking about 10 rounds as being high capacity magazines. Yeah, so you're going to be missing out on a lot of facts, on a whole side of the debate, and on people who have a lot to bring to the table. And the overall view that's going to be presented is going to be a skewed one. It's going to be missing a key piece, namely the other side. And that's something we should think about. So, Lone Rider, out.